what you can tell young people is not just one thing. There are so many things. But the one thing is for sure, this profession is about making a better world. And making a better world is not easy. It's certainly making place for people to meet and to stay together. But it's also looking for beauty. Because, you know, beauty is something difficult to find, difficult to grab. It's like the bird of paradise goes away. You try to, but the arm is too short. You can't grab. But if you can grab a bit of beauty and you put in the space, in a building for people, that becomes a quite interesting way to make people better people. Because this is what art does, and beauty. Beauty in a noble sense, not just cosmetic. Beauty as an art of discovery, and art of music, the art of architecture, the art of filmmaking, the art of science. If beauty is there, well, then beauty can change the world. It will do one person by a time, of course, but it will do it.
You know, I have understood that we, from our academic background, think we can understand everything, but I don't think we can. I think it's totally impossible. And I have learned, like in the first job I did outside my country, which was far away, was in China. And it was really one of the first works I did. I really thought I would immerse myself in the Chinese culture, you know, in 2 days. I'm a complete Chinese and I know the context, and I'm going to operate like, you know, being very local and understanding the way that things are built here and the culture and blah, blah, blah. And then little by little through the years, I understood that I cannot understand a thing about a place if I really am not from that place, which then brings me to the point where I probably don't know anything about anything but just my neighborhood where I grew up and I lived for 35 years in depth and in truth to react, no? So then I was thinking that for me at least the way to operate abroad is that to have that opportunity that I come from other places and I have other references to see things that people that when you're normally embedded in the context you don't see. And that could become an opportunity for a building to emerge in this situation. And instead of, and then being very honest about saying, well, I would not understand the context here at all. And I better operate with what I can bring to it and make it the best out of it, no? And instead of pretending that I could understand the history and the culture, I rather think that I better focus and concentrate in what I believe I can give, which is the things that I have from where I come from.
I stood in front of a statue called the Charioteer. It's a Greek statue, it's in Delphi, tall, and it was 500 BC. It made me cry. And I thought, boy, that's what an architect should do, is be able to have an emotional response with their work that lasts through the centuries. So that's what I try to do. Now, I know that's very pompous, but at least it's a wish, it's a hope.
僕が若い建築家にアドバイスしたいことは、世界の果てを見に行ってきなさい。やっぱり今僕らは大体大学も何もみんな都市にあるわけですけれども、やっぱり世界の果ての場所には、全然違う場所があって、全然違う視線があって、そういうものを若い時に体験するかしないかで、その後の人生はすごく変わると思うんですね。僕自身はやっぱり大学の時に一番自分が変わったと思ったのはサハラ砂漠のところに調査に行って、2ヶ月間でそのサハラ砂漠の周りをこうずっと 集落村を調査して回って、その体験が自分を変えたと思うんですね。だからそういうなんか世界の果てを見るということを今の若い人たちにもぜひやってほしいと思いますね。
I think architecture is really a powerful tool to shape our society. And just by the way we choose our materials, the construction process, and how many people we include in the process, for example, we really have a powerful tool to really make an impact. And for me, the essential question that I always have in the back of my mind when I'm designing and deciding is, what if 7 billion people would decide the same way? Having the same approach, having the same decision on the material, on the way the resources are used and the space is used up, for example. And would it contribute to social justice, or would it contribute to a destabilization of the ecosystems? And all these questions I'm trying to really have in my mind when I'm designing, because I deeply believe that the world is not changing with one big decision. It's the everyday small decisions that are really shaping our environment and our society.
First of all, does architecture or art, sculpting, painting, drawing, is that what you really, really want to do more than anything else in the world? And you would do anything to be able to do it because it really, really fires you. If that's the case, you've made the right choice and you go for it and you immerse, totally saturate it, you live it every living second of your life. If you don't believe in it that much, then you have to find something that you believe in, something else. And it doesn't really matter what it is, because in life, I think you'll find that everything is creative.
Since architecture at the core is the constant accommodation of where human life has come to. And it's this ongoing project, the city we inherit is not in a perfect finished state. It's actually a constant work in progress. And as human life evolves, so should our cities evolve with them. And since our cities are not about accommodating a single mindset, a single ethnicity, a single gender, a single religion, a single culture, a single language group, a single profession, but about accommodating a huge plethora of different points of views, different life forms. It shouldn't be singular and dogmatic. It should actually be, open-ended and almost like empathic. It should be able to empathize and accommodate so many differences. And I think in that sense, there is an incredible power in not being so dogmatic, but actually being sort of open-minded enough to sort of listen to and understand what is this person saying, or what is that group afraid of, or what are these guys trying to secure. And I think in that sense, like, at the end of the day, empathy is definitely one of the biggest superpowers that you can have almost in any field, but I think especially in architecture, which is essentially the art and science of accommodation, is that in order to be able to accommodate people and different kinds of people, you have to be able to understand and empathize with them.
If I would give an advice, would be as nerd as possible. Prove pleasure in understanding the details, the data, the languages of others. Swallow all that information. And when spitting and organizing that information in a proposal key, be rebellious. Fight the cliche, for which you need freedom. So I guess that if that circle, it's fed by being nerd and being free. Being nerd and being free, some good maybe put back there in the world in the form of built environment.
I think it's very difficult to advise because ourselves we are not always sure about, we have still a lot of doubts and it's good to have doubts and to ask always questions. But probably we could recommend that they really, first that they feel well with what they are doing, that they feel in line with what, how as person, as citizen, as architects, how we can mix all this in the same attitude. That's very important for us to be in line on all these parts of our personality, and also that it's important to be also in line with our contemporary society, to try to understand what is expected from the architects. We recommend that they should think architecture not as a representation, but much more as really spaces for the life, any use, with possibility of freedom of use for everyone. So we could encourage them to think architecture in this way and not as a kind of product or. Even if at the end of course we produce architecture, we produce objects, we use materials. It's the aesthetic is there, but it's not the heart of the question. It's important that all this starts from a strong intention, a strong position towards people, towards inhabitants, towards in general our surrounding society.
I think traveling is extremely important, but I must say I wasn't much of a traveler. In my case, I didn't do it for any attraction to traveling. In fact, I'm a very homely person. I'll walk around in my neighborhood. I don't even need to go to the other neighborhoods. I'm very rooted in my home and my immediacy. I also traveled through reading books and all that, so when I was younger. So I didn't have this travel urge. But I think a balance of both are required. I think exposure is important. But if you're not rooted yourself, you will go to hundreds of places and not see anything. In the early years of my travels, I realized, oh my God, you tend to judge how other people are as different from you. But if you do more of that, you realize, you come out of that thought and you realize that you are universal too, and you can feel, you grow and you realize, the different expressions that are possible, and you can connect to all of them. And you start, I think after a certain, I would say midway, my gaze shifted and I see the similarity, and in all the every difference I see, it only crystallizes for me what is common. I see it that way now. But yes, I think when you like something, and even to understand harmony, beauty, what well-being, human well-being, I think one needs to see how people celebrate life in different expressions and what is the common denominator in all of that,